My dad always chose to get rich quick scheme. Almost always.
Madison Brush is giving insight into the financial lives of the sister wives. The 29-year-old daughter of patriarch Kody Brown and his ex Janelle Brown, who along with Christine Brown and Mary Brown divorced Kody within the past 4 years, recently detailed her family's relationship to money prior to the TLC show's launch in 2010 on the December 9th episode of the Authentic Society podcast.
Before the show, did you grow up poor?
Yeah. Before the show, we were very poor.
20 seasons of Sister Wives. 4 wives turned into one. 18 children scattered across 3 states. And at the center of it all sits a $2 million question that nobody wants to answer. Where did all the money go? December 2024. Madison Brown Brush sits down for her podcast and drops a truth bomb that ricochets through 15 years of carefully constructed lies. Her father, Kody Brown, the patriarch who built an empire on plural marriage, has been running the same con since day one, chasing schemes, dodging stability, spending tax returns the second they arrive. Madison calls it exactly what it is. My dad always chose the get-rich-quick scheme, almost always. 3 words that explain everything. Get rich quick. This is the story of how one man's gambling addiction, disguised as entrepreneurship, bankrupted 4 families, while cameras rolled and nobody noticed until it was too late. Before revealing what Mckelty and Tony exposed in season 20 that made Kody panic about his financial house of cards collapsing publicly, the origin story of this addiction matters. Because Madison didn't just expose her father's current financial chaos, she traced the disease back to its source. And what she discovered explains every bankruptcy, every scheme, every disappeared dollar from the last 20 years. Before the show, we were very poor. Madison said those words in December 2024. Like someone finally exhaling after holding their breath for 20 years. The Brown family before TLC cameras arrived wasn't the struggling but managing plural family they performed for viewers. They were broke. 15 kids, 4 wives, 1 sign salesman who made decent money but spent it faster than he earned it. Kody worked in sign sales, made about $4,000 per month, according to bankruptcy filings from when he lived in Montana. Math that doesn't math when supporting 4 households and 15 children. Who keep needing food, clothing, shelter, medical care, the basic requirements of keeping humans alive, that Kody treated like optional expenses that got in the way of his next big score. Madison explained to her podcast co-host that Kody was always doing something, always chasing something, always convinced the next investment would be the one that changed everything. Sign sales wasn't enough, had to be bigger, had to be flashier, had to be the scheme that would make him rich, without the messy business of actually working for it. Her husband, Caleb Brush, couldn't comprehend this mindset. When Madison tried explaining her father's financial philosophy, Caleb's response was immediate rejection. No, that's not how money works. That's not how you build stability. That's not how you protect your family. But Kody Brown wasn't interested in protecting his family. He was interested in the high that comes from believing you're one scheme away from striking gold.
I think my dad made decent money, but you have 15 kids.
Right.
Like a lot of kids, you know?
They might have been fine if they had 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But with 15.
What happened next reveals the pattern that would repeat for 2 decades. In a moment, Janelle's confession about money disappearing from family accounts without explanation will prove Madison's claims weren't isolated incidents. They were standard operating procedure. But first, the tax return revelation that shows how deep this dysfunction ran. Madison revealed something during her podcast that unlocks the entire financial nightmare: tax returns. Every family gets them. Most families with 18 children would use them for necessities: emergency fund, medical expenses, college savings, stability. The Brown family spent them immediately. When we got our tax returns when we were younger, my parents immediately spent it on something. Every single time. Tax money that should have been safety net became instant gratification fund. Kody and his wives treating windfalls like permission to spend instead of opportunity to save. No delayed gratification. No long-term planning. No consideration that maybe, possibly, eventually, there might be an emergency that requires actual money in actual accounts. Madison contrasted this with Caleb's family, who were educated and understood that being broke meant saving every penny possible. They were debt-phobic, calculated, careful, everything the Browns weren't. Her description of trying to explain her parents' financial philosophy to Caleb is fascinating. She'd present some idea Kody had sold her on, Some scheme that sounded plausible when wrapped in Kody's confidence. And Caleb's response was always the same. No, that's not real. That's fantasy masquerading as business plan. Those conversations forced Madison to confront reality. There is no get rich quick. The schemes don't work. The investments fail. The only people who get rich quick are the ones selling the scheme to suckers desperate enough to believe.
And that was something like, it was such a foreign thought to Caleb. And I remember like explaining some ideas to him and he's like, no.
Later in this story comes the moment where Kody's financial recklessness stops being about poor planning and becomes about actual physical harm to his children, including Madison's emergency surgery that wasn't covered by insurance because her father prioritized schemes over basic medical coverage. But first, Janelle's bombshell confession about funds disappearing needs examination. January 2025, Sister Wives Season 20 airs an episode where Janelle Brown, who managed the family's finances for years, reveals something that should terrify anyone who's been watching Kody operate. In the last several years, Kody would just take out funds, and I don't know what for. Read that again. The woman who kept the books, who tracked every expense, who made sure bills got paid and kids got fed. She doesn't know where the money went. Kody was pulling funds from family accounts without explanation, without consultation, without accountability. Janelle explained that in the early years, they made decisions together, weighed in on what bills should be paid, discussed priorities, functioned like actual partners managing shared resources. Then something changed. Kody started making unilateral decisions. Money disappeared into ventures nobody else understood or approved. The transformation from collaborative financial management to financial dictatorship happened gradually. Janelle didn't wake up one day to find Kody completely in control. He took it piece by piece, decision by decision, withdrawal by withdrawal, until she was managing books for money she couldn't track, because the person making withdrawals refused to explain them. This is textbook financial abuse. One partner controlling money, other partner kept in dark. Questions met with deflection or anger. Justifications that don't justify. Promises that never materialize. Classic pattern that plays out in relationships, where one person values control over partnership. Coming up is Mckelty and Tony's Season 20 Patreon content that didn't just discuss episodes but pulled back the curtain on emotional manipulation and financial control that cameras couldn't fully capture. Their commentary became family intervention broadcast for $10 per subscriber. But first, the health insurance nightmare that proves Kody's priorities. Here's where Kody's financial recklessness stops being about poor planning and becomes about actual harm to his children. Madison revealed that health insurance coverage for the Brown kids was inconsistent. Sometimes they had it, sometimes they didn't. Gaps between Janelle's employment, transitions from temp agencies to state jobs, windows of vulnerability where 18 children existed without medical coverage because their father prioritized schemes over stability. Madison's appendix ruptured, emergency surgery, not covered by any insurance. Her mother had to pay it off for years. Imagine being Janelle, working multiple jobs, managing family finances, keeping 18 kids fed and sheltered, and your daughter's appendix ruptures, and you have no insurance because your husband spent the money chasing some investment that went nowhere. That's not unfortunate circumstances. That's choices. Kody's choices. Prioritizing the next scheme over basic medical coverage for his children. Gambling with their literal lives while convincing himself he was providing for them. Maddie said some people in their church were massively rich. Commercial contractors who could build their family homes for super cheap. Those families had money because they did actual work that produced actual value. They built things, created things, provided services people needed. Kody sold signs and chased dreams. Not the same. The appendix surgery bill followed Janelle for years. Payment plans, interest accruing, constant reminder that her daughter's medical emergency created financial crisis because her husband couldn't prioritize insurance over investment opportunities. Every payment Janelle made was payment toward bill that should never have existed if Kody had done basic job of protecting his children. What happens next shows how Mckelty went from being Kody and Robyn's biggest defender to asking uncomfortable questions about money nobody wanted to answer.
Like when we got our tax returns when I was younger, my parents immediately spent it on something. And Caleb's family were both educated and they did not. They saved it. They saved every penny that they could. I mean, they were broke. They were debt phobic. Like they did as much as they could.
Her transformation wasn't sudden. It was accumulation of evidence she couldn't ignore anymore. The season 20 commentary that resulted became must-watch content for anyone trying to understand Brown family financial dysfunction. Season 20 didn't just show Kody's marriages falling apart. It documented Mckelty Brown Padron's complete transformation from loyal daughter defending father and stepmother to woman asking uncomfortable questions about money nobody wanted to answer. Mckelty, who'd invited Robyn into her delivery room, who'd defended Kody publicly when siblings went silent, who'd played peacekeeper while the family imploded. Something broke in her after Garrison's funeral in March 2024, details she won't share out of respect for her brother's memory. Events involving Robyn that severed 15 years of trust permanently. By late 2024, Mckelty's Patreon wasn't just Sister Wives commentary. It was family intervention broadcast for $10 per subscriber. She and Tony dissecting financial decisions with ruthless clarity that comes from watching your parents destroy everything through incompetence disguised as confidence. They laughed at the idea of Kody and Robyn adding a new wife. Not because polygamy is wrong, because how exactly would they afford another person when they can't manage the financial obligations they already have? Mckelty called out Robyn for lying, publicly. The daughter, who'd been Robyn's biggest defender, saying on her platform that her stepmother was being dishonest about finances. That's not casual accusation. That's nuclear option deployed by someone who's done protecting lies. Tony provided the outsider perspective that Mckelty needed. He married into this chaos. Watched from the outside as sign salesman became reality TV patriarch, became estranged father. His chess player brain analyzing moves and seeing the end game Kody refuses to acknowledge. Their reaction videos broke down episodes with forensic precision. When Robyn claims she budgets better than other wives, Mykelti and Tony dissected that claim until nothing remained but exposed lie. When Kody complained about Coyote Pass not compensating him properly, they explained why his complaints were nonsense, given that he controlled the ownership structure that created the situation he complained about. The Patreon became therapy session that thousands of viewers attended. Watching Mckelty process her father's financial incompetence in real time. Watching Tony apply logical thinking to situations that defied logic. Watching two people who'd tried to maintain family peace finally admit the peace was illusion built on lies. The move to North Carolina that Mckelty and Tony announced in June 2024 wasn't just about Tony's chess career. It was about escaping financial toxicity that had been poisoning them for years. The stated reason versus unstated reason reveals everything about how the next generation is breaking patterns their parents established. But first, the bankruptcy filing nobody talks about needs attention. 2015 bankruptcy filing. Kody and Mary Brown. Public record that reveals exactly how bad the finances were even after Sister Wives money started flowing. $4,000 monthly income from sign sales. Debt so extensive they needed legal intervention. Inability to manage money even when they were earning more than they ever had. TLC paychecks that should have solved problems instead masked them temporarily. Kody probably viewed Sister Wives as his ultimate get-rich-quick scheme. Reality TV fame, national exposure, money without having to actually produce anything of value. Perfect for someone allergic to real work. Except reality TV isn't passive income. It requires performing your life's worst moments for strangers' entertainment. Watching your marriages dissolve on camera, your children estranging on national television, your financial incompetence becoming public record. The show wasn't get rich quick, it was get exposed quick. Every scheme, every bad decision, every selfish choice documented for posterity and streaming platforms. The bankruptcy happened same year as catfishing scandal. Same year Kody legally married Robyn after divorcing Mary. Same year family was supposedly making more money than ever from TLC. And they still couldn't manage finances well enough to avoid legal intervention. That bankruptcy filing is Rosetta Stone for understanding Brown family finances. Even with significant income increase from reality TV, patterns remained. Spending outpaced earning. Schemes consumed resources. Stability remained elusive fantasy chased but never caught. Coming up is Robyn's role in the financial disaster and her audacious claims about budgeting skills while living in mansion purchased with borrowed money. Her September 2024 statement about having different priorities than other wives reveals mindset that enabled Kody's worst financial impulses. But first, the move to North Carolina that represents next generation's rejection of parental patterns. June 2024. Mykelti and Tony announced they're moving from Utah to North Carolina, leaving Christine, leaving most of the family, putting 2,000 miles between themselves and Brown family headquarters. The stated reason? Tony's chess career. Charlotte is chess capital of the United States. Opportunities for professional players. Better environment for their 3 children. The unstated reason? Getting away from financial toxicity that's been poisoning them for years. Mckelty admitted Christine was extremely sad. Every time moving came up, Mckelty broke her mother's heart a little more. But she and Tony made choice that was best for their immediate family. Financial stability. Geographic boundaries. Protection from drama that wasn't going to stop as long as they stayed close. Madison had already figured this out. She and Caleb living in North Carolina specifically because they wanted 2,000 miles minimum between themselves and Kody. Grateful that God moved them far away from chaos. Grateful their children won't grow up watching grandfather chase schemes while grandmother stresses about money. Both daughters choosing same state despite different reasons reveals pattern. North Carolina represents escape, distance, protection. 2,000 miles feels like adequate buffer between their growing families and the financial disaster still unfolding in their parents' lives. The Brown family's next generation isn't repeating their parents' mistakes. They're building wealth, creating stability, saving money instead of spending it, rejecting get-rich-quick for slow and steady wins. Everything Kody should have done but didn't, because he was too busy being his own worst enemy. Later comes the $2 million question that nobody can answer satisfactorily. How Kody and Robyn afforded that house purchase while estranged from most of their children and potentially owing significant child support. But first, Robyn's audacious budgeting claims need examination. September 2024 episode. Robyn Brown claiming she learned to budget really well after her divorce, suggesting other wives had different priorities with their money. Passive-aggressive implication that she was more financially responsible than Mary, Janelle, or Christine. Woman living in mansion purchased with money borrowed from 2 ex-wives lecturing about budgeting is comedy gold that writes itself. Madison's podcast revelations included all the parents, not just Kody. All 4 wives tended to spend instead of save, all of them treating windfalls like permission to shop instead of opportunity to build security. Robyn wasn't exempt from this pattern, despite her claims of superior financial literacy. But Robyn's spending had one crucial difference. She had Kody convinced her needs were priorities. Her comfort was essential. Her lifestyle was non-negotiable. So money flowed to Robyn's household, while Janelle lived in RV, and Christine couldn't afford Isabel's surgery without family meeting about whether it was necessary. The financial favoritism mirrored the emotional favoritism. Where Kody's attention went, money followed. Robyn's house got bigger. Robyn's kids got prioritized. Robyn's wishes became commands, while other wives' needs became suggestions that could be ignored. Robyn's claim about budgeting skills would be laughable if it wasn't so insulting to wives who actually managed with less. Christine raising 6 kids while Kody funneled resources to Robyn. Janelle working multiple jobs while Robyn stayed home in mansion. Mary running bed and breakfast to maintain independence while Robyn lectured about priorities. Late 2024. Kody and Robyn sell their Flagstaff home, purchase new property for approximately $2 million. Nobody in the family knew until it was done deal, including Mckelty, including Tony, the daughter and son-in-law who'd remained loyal when others left, found out about the house sale from the internet like everyone else. How do you afford $2 million house when you're estranged from 14 of 18 children? Owe child support to Christine, potentially owe support to Janelle. And your main income source is reality show documenting your family's destruction? The math doesn't math unless you're still running the same playbook you've always run. Spend now, worry later. Bet that somehow money will materialize to cover obligations. Treat debt like theoretical concept instead of actual bills that require actual payment. Kody viewing the house purchase as investment, probably. Another scheme. Property appreciates, equity builds, sell high, profit. Except that only works if you can afford the mortgage and property taxes and maintenance in the meantime. If you can't, the house becomes anchor dragging you underwater while you pretend you're swimming. The $2 million purchase, while child support obligations remain unpaid, shows priorities haven't changed. Kody still values looking successful over being responsible. Still chooses appearance of wealth over actual stability. Still gambling that schemes will work out eventually despite 20 years of evidence proving they won't. Madison's description of what she inherited from her parents versus what she's building with Caleb is the entire show in microcosm. Inherited, get-rich-quick mentality, spending over saving, immediate gratification over delayed reward, schemes over stability, performance over substance, building, wealth creation through actual work, stability through careful planning. savings for emergencies, rejection of fantasy in favor of reality, protection for their children that their parents never provided. Madison started Tata Farms with Janelle, mother and daughter building legitimate business based on actual products people actually want, flowers, farm goods, real value exchanged for real money. Novel concept in family where father spent decades chasing imaginary jackpots. The farm represents everything Kody's schemes weren't. Tangible, real, producing actual goods that customers purchase for actual money. No get-rich-quick promises. No investments that require faith over evidence. No complex financial structures that collapse under scrutiny. Just flowers growing in soil and customers buying them because they're beautiful and well-grown. Janelle found peace in that simplicity, working alongside her daughter, building something real with her hands, watching plants grow instead of watching schemes fail. The farm became therapy as much as business, physical manifestation of choosing different path than the one Kody walked for 30 years. Mckelty running Mckelty's whimsical boutique. LuLaRoe sales despite the company's pyramid scheme reputation, proving she can make money even in questionable business models. Patreon subscriptions from fans paying for honest commentary. Sister Wives appearance fees reportedly $25,000 to $40,000 per episode. Multiple income streams that don't depend on schemes or luck. Hustle culture meets responsible adulting. Her estimated net worth of $500,000 at age 27 proves she learned from watching what not to do. Built wealth through actual work instead of waiting for scheme to pay off. Created stability through diversification instead of putting everything into one risky venture. Protected her family by building foundation instead of chasing fantasy. Tony leaving banking job to pursue professional chess career isn't reckless when you understand its calculated risk, backed by Mckelty's income and Charlotte's tournament scene. That's not get rich quick. That's career transition planned and executed by adults who understand money requires work. The difference between Tony's chess career and Kody's schemes is preparation. Tony studied chess his entire life, competed in tournaments, built skills through practice and dedication, moved to city with infrastructure to support professional chess players, made transition while wife's income provided safety net. That's calculated risk management. Kody's schemes required no expertise, no skill development, no infrastructure, no safety net. Just confidence that this time would be different, despite all evidence suggesting it wouldn't be. That's not risk management. That's gambling addiction wearing businessman costume. The children learned what not to do by watching their parents do everything wrong for 20 years on camera. Best education money can't buy because it came free with childhood trauma and financial insecurity. Logan became successful businessman. Maddie built farm with her mother. Hunter joined military, then pursued education. Aspen married and built stable life. Mckelty created multiple income streams, all of them rejecting the financial chaos they grew up watching. Even the younger ones, who are still finding their paths, show no interest in get-rich-quick schemes. They watched what that addiction did to their father, watched it destroy his marriages, alienate his children, create constant financial stress that permeated every aspect of family life. They want nothing to do with it. Checkmate came years ago for Kody. He just keeps moving pieces, pretending the game isn't over. Late 2024 brought another financial complication Kody can't scheme his way out of. Christine filed paternity and child support lawsuit. Reports suggest he potentially owes around $100,000, though that figure hasn't been confirmed. Timing is interesting. Christine waited until she was remarried to David Woolley, waited until she had support system in place, waited until she was financially stable enough to pursue what she was owed. Then went after Kody for money he should have been paying all along. The lawsuit isn't about revenge. It's about accountability, making Kody fulfill basic financial obligations to children from marriage he claims to have valued, forcing him to prioritize actual bills over schemes and appearances. Kody buying $2 million house while potentially owing 6 figures in child support shows exactly where his priorities lie. Looking wealthy matters more than being responsible. Performance matters more than substance. Image matters more than reality. Christine's lawsuit puts numbers to the cost of Kody's choices, not theoretical damage, not emotional harm. Actual dollars that could have gone to feeding, clothing, educating the children he helped create. Money that should have been theirs, but went somewhere else because Kody decided his priorities mattered more than their needs. The lawsuit hanging over the $2 million house purchase creates perfect metaphor for Kody's entire financial approach. Obligations ignored, new purchases made, consequences postponed, reality denied. Bills stacking up while schemes consume resources that should go to basic responsibilities. How long can you run from math? Numbers don't care about confidence. Banks don't accept schemes as payment. Courts don't forgive debt because you meant to pay it. Eventually, arithmetic catches up and forces accounting that can't be avoided. Christine's lawsuit might be the arithmetic Kody can't escape. February 2025. Kody estranged from 14 children, separated from 3 ex-wives, living with Robyn in $2 million house while owing child support and facing uncertain financial future, as sister wives winds down and income streams dry up. Madison in North Carolina with Caleb, building life that explicitly rejects everything her father represents financially. Mckelty and Charlotte with Tony, building similar life, 2,000 miles from chaos. They're done enabling. Christine thriving with David, Janelle building Tata Farms business with Maddie, Mary running successful B&B. 3 women proving they don't need Kody's schemes to survive. The get-rich-quick addiction that started before cameras arrived continues after cameras leave. Kody learned nothing, changed nothing, still chasing the fantasy that wealth appears magically for people smart enough to spot the angle nobody else sees. Except everyone else sees it. They see the pattern, the schemes, the debt, the child support, the $2 million house that doesn't solve the fundamental problem that Kody Brown treats money like monopoly money and wonders why real bills require real payment.